Yo, 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 new day, new deal. I am properly back into Elden Ring again. The moment I opened Hollow Knight here, I got my claw grip ready to prep for a boss fight. That is fucking insane. It's not the first time muscle memory has kicked in like this, but it's the first time it's come around this quickly. It's only been like a day of me grinding. Oh god. My bad. So I have actually been through a couple bosses of the DLC already, the Shadow of the Earth Tree. I began playing the DLC. At first I just wanted to make I play through with a strength build, and then I can play through with a dex build this time. But it's gonna be a damn long time before I actually get leveled up properly, because I think it's recommended that you start at level like 150 or something, and I grinded a little too long to get to that point. They made a specific grinding point in the just before Mox Castle. Is it Mox Castle? Pretty sure. Where you can just get a bunch of XP for free, but it takes a lot of time, especially in the later. Jesus Christ, what is going on? I've drank nothing but water today. Yeah, that's a fair point. I've also not spoken one singular word today, so hey, I am ready. I'm ready to yap for half an hour. The Elden Ring DLC overall review, it's pretty fire so far. I don't know how much content I should be expecting from this. I got the map right. You can kind of see the map and where to go and stuff like that. And I've explored the majority of it. And now I have, when I sit back now and need to play some more, I'm in the exploring phase, because the very last thing I did last night was finally fucking beating Messmer the Impaler. I'm also getting a bit upgraded on, or updated on Elden Ring lore. Not that I have perfected the art whatsoever, because that's basically impossible. But I know that Messmer is a demigod that is, I don't know, he's holding some kind of seal for Miquella, and we are the entire DLC is just going after Miquella. Yeah, Miquella being, I'm pretty sure you don't actually meet Miquella in the normal game. So here it's the rest of the family tree you hunt, being mainly Miquella and of course Messmer protecting Miquella, and I think you also have to beat a Melania to get to the DLC. So that's pretty funny. I have already beaten her, so that's not a problem. But she has that whole I'm Melania, the Blade of Miquella, that edgy line. And yeah, I've beaten that beforehand just in the base game, so that's not a problem whatsoever. But this fucking Messmer fight has given me a lot of problems. There are 3 main boss fights I've been through, one of them being Messmer, the third one being Messmer. The 2 first ones just being like some goofy animals. I don't really know what their relevance is. One of them, the first one basically being a lion, like I don't know, kind of like a Chinese dragon lion. He moved like a Chinese dragon, is what I'm supposed to say. He moved like a Chinese dragon, with like, except for 15 parts or something, there were only 2. But, you know, he was essentially just a lion. I don't know, I think he had something to do with Godfrey, but I'm not really sure. Godfrey just had a fucking lion on his back. I found out through some TikTok lore that the lion on his back or on his shoulder is on Godfrey's shoulder is essentially the god of fury, and that is the only one who could tame Godfrey's anger because he was so fucking angry. What he was angry about, I'm not sure. But he needed to calm his anger to be a part of the Golden Order. I'm pretty sure he was part of the Golden Order. I don't really know what the Golden Order is. There is so much lore to Elden Ring to unpack that I have not unpacked, and I don't know if I should ever hope to unpack it. But, you know, the Golden Order is a thing, and I don't know, there was a choice to be part of the Golden Order or like be a #1 hater of the Golden Order. But I didn't know that Elden Ring had multiple endings, so I just took the you burn the Erdtree and become Elden Lord ending. I don't really know what that implies for the Golden Order, because again, I don't really know what the Golden Order is, or like who it is, who is followers of the Golden Order, and like what they, like in terms of gameplay, who you actually fight against, in terms of what, like, I don't know. The RP in Elden Ring is not the greatest, but I don't know, I fucking love Elden Ring nonetheless. But I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm getting a solid, you know, as solid as you can grasp on the Elden Ring lore, which is more than I can say for, you know, at any other point in the game. Granted, this lore does not come from the game itself. It just comes from an autistic guy on TikTok. So, yeah, yeah. W's for me. W's in the chat. But I've beaten the lion guy. Then there is a well, I guess spoilers. If you're this far into you know what I'm about to say. So the second boss, being yet another animal, being like a hippo porcupine. Are they called porcupines? He's essentially just Sonic, just like a slow Sonic rolling around. That's his second phase. And that's essentially all he does. Yeah, that was still way too early. Womp womp. That's essentially all he does. He was actually a bit hard, but he wasn't insurmountable. He was just kind of cracked at. I wasn't able to predict his moves whatsoever. He had sort of an attack where he just runs from one side of the map to the other. Like directly towards you with his mouth wide open, and if you don't dodge, like essentially you have all the time in the world there to prep something. I didn't really have anything to prep, so I just waited for him. But you know, as long as you don't get caught in that final little, I don't know, he just had a bunch of goofy. His boss area was also kind of goofy. It was just like an in-between section. I guess every single boss area is exactly that. But, well, no, actually, Messmer's was not. Messmer's was at the top of the end of the Tower of Shadows, I'm pretty sure it's called. I don't really know why he was there, but he was there to... There was some sort of seal that needed to be broken or something. Messmer is... God, that was a hard fight. Especially doing it alone. You know, while doing it, I just grew tired of it. I lost all my runes and I grew tired of battling the guy. So I just went out exploring again, and I found the legendary Bale cursor. And then I thought, oh well, let me go that way because that's probably where this Bale guy is. What I didn't realize was Bale is a fucking dragon. He's let me say, which Monster Hunter guy can I compare him to? I guess a yeah, of course I forget the fucking guy's name. One of the sand guys who is essentially blind. It's that guy, but in Elden Ring. And the funky part is, you know, sure you can ride your steed around and battle him, right? But you can only focus your target on his head, even though he is so much bigger than just his head. You know, and usually with dragons and drakes and whatever, you can actually, you know, focus on specifically their head or their front leg or their, you know, their back right foot. Yeah, I was spitting bars. But there's a lot of different opportunities there. I only battled Bale for like 2 fucking turns, and then I went back again because I did not do any damage whatsoever. That was when I decided to look up like how many of the power-ups do you need, or how much is recommended, and I only had 6 at the time. I didn't actually look up for Bale, but I looked up for Messmer. For Messmer, it is what are they even called? Scardry? 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 I don't know. But in Shadow of the Erdtree, in this Shadow Realm you're in, you know, you go up to Mog's Castle, you go and touch the Hand of Miquella, and then you're transported into the Shadow Realm, essentially, and that is where you get these Scardries, and you get some sort of other power-up that I forgot the name of, but if one of them powers up your base stats, and the other one boosts your summons stats, which is pretty nice because I'm a loser. I use the tier. I use the mimic tier. So yeah, call me gay if you want, but that's how we ballin'. That's how we rollin'. So, but yeah. I only had like 6 of them when it was recommended like 8 to 9. So I just went exploring some more and found out that there was a bridge pretty early on that if I just went straight instead of right immediately, I would have gotten 2 of them like right there, basically by each other. So that's always fun to know. I'm getting to the point where I need 2 of them at a time to actually upgrade anything. But yeah, yeah. I don't know. It got a lot easier. Not that it was easy, the Messmer fight, but it got a lot easier, especially when I brought in Hornsent. Hornsent, I am amazed by myself that I remember his name. He's one of the NPCs who really, he's beginning to have a lot of beef with Miquella, and especially Messmer, for some reason. Again, there's so much lore here that I need to unpack, but I can't be bothered to unpack it in order to, like, I don't know, I'm expecting there to also be, you know, several different endings here, but I'm not gonna go through them all. I'm not gonna, like, min-max that. You don't min-max story beats. Basically min-maxing like info on how and why and who. You know, it wouldn't be so hard. It sounds like I'm whining here, but the main problem is just the names of people and like their roles not being explained whatsoever. For example, I know. You know, I know that the final boss is gonna be Consort Radahn, which I don't know what is. I don't know what does consort mean in this regard. But it's gonna be some version of Radahn, and I'm fucking hyped for that. Because the original Radahn fight was so fucking cool. I was also very overpowered, so I didn't have the stress of, you know, damn, I'm getting clapped by Radahn. No, I clapped Radahn. I didn't even know you could summon people. Like, the whole, like, gathering of people. I didn't know you could summon them for help. I just raw dogged Radahn alone, and I nearly won on my first try. And then my roommates came in and yelled at me for being fucking stupid. So, you know, I'm beginning to use the summons whenever I can. I then finally fucking realized that there was a golden summoning sign inside of Messmer's battleground. You know, his little chamber. The Chamber of Shadows, I'm pretty sure it's called. I don't know, I can't remember the names. His tower, by the way, his tower itself is really fucking cool, but god, the enemies are also really annoying. There are a lot of the, you know, little minions with, like, chainsaw. It's not chainsaws, but, like, with giant saws, like little fucking rats with saws. They are fucking scouring everywhere, and behind every single corner, and even when you know they're there, you can't. It's a 50-50 whether you can do something about it, because god damn, they're a little pests. And you know, you can't really focus on them. Like, you can focus on enemies, right? You can't really focus on them because they're behind corners and just ready to jump at you. But you can't do that because they're behind the fucking corners, and you have to, like, dodge roll, but then you dodge roll into some other enemy that you wanted to sneak past, or sneak kill. I don't know, I fucking hate those little, I don't even know what to call them. I don't know, do they have an official name? I don't know. Uh-oh, I was about to... Have I taken both damages from just dashing into the spikes? Pretty sure I have. Oh well, good game, good game. But yeah, there was a summoning sign, which was, I found out way later, Hornsent. And Hornsent, he has a very hard time dying for some reason. It also helped a lot that I started using the power-up buffs, so that I actually, you know, it's not a lot, but I just do more damage with, I can't remember the fucking the power-up. It's some sort of spell. I think that's what I didn't really know, because I apparently dropped some. I also just had an inferior seal of, I think, Radagons. You know, there are two seals that just buff your stats for, like, okay, you take a little more damage, but it buffs your stats, and then another one buffs your stats greatly, and I had that just sitting there in my inventory, so that hurt, that stung a bit. But yeah, I equipped that, I equipped some more buffs, and I went in, immediately summoning Hornsent. He is 100% a dex build, and just, you know, he does a lot of fucking damage. You know, even beforehand, when I did it alone, me and my Mimic tier, we pretty consistently got him to his second phase. Then we just got absolutely hammered by his second phase. You know, his second phase is... Okay, so his first phase, because it's easier to explain the second phase when you have his first phase. His first phase is just... You don't have a lot of opportunity, especially as a strength build. You don't have a lot of opportunity to actually damage the guy. He just does a lot of swings, and a lot of the fight is just, you know, dying, failing, and memorizing his patterns. which I managed to do fairly well, but you know, then comes along his second phase, and you know, the patterns sort of change. Some of them remain the same, but some of them don't, and it's kind of goofy. But he's a fire build. He's a fire build, and a lot of the time you can't even see. A lot of the early fights I couldn't fucking see what. I've only drank water today. What the fuck is going on? Uh-oh, I'm dying. Whew. You could only he just swings around a giant fire sword, so you can't actually see what the hell is going on. So you just have to remember that, and you know, his second phase is just that, but like tenfold, because a lot of his, you know, he's a snake guy apparently, and a lot of his second phase attacks has to do with snakes. You know, he summons snakes from the ground and just can you make me heal? Thank you. He summons some snakes from the ground and, you know, just sends after you. He also has this one attack, which is also in his first phase, but it's just amplified. Which it didn't need to be. It was basically a one-shot kill anyway, so you didn't really need to amplify that to hurt even more. So the first time around, he swings a couple swords in a particular way. Uh-oh, that was my own fault. He swings his swords in a particular way, and then he hammers you like 19 fucking times, just like rapid fire in a row. And then afterwards, he sends a fucking spear down at you, and the spear comes up again in like sort of an AoE attack, or you know, the impact or something like that. Thank you. Something like that along those lines. That's one of the attacks. That's not even the attack I'm describing. He has one where, to be fair, he has a lot of build up to that, but he just grabs you and impales you. You know, seeing as his name is Messmer the Impaler, this makes a lot of sense. But he does a lot of damage, and he even does like burn damage while you're on his, you know, in his hand and on his spear, and then you, of course, he takes like 80% of your health. 70% of your health he takes just immediately from impaling you. Then you take another like 10% from before and another 10% from after. So if you are full HP or nearly full HP, you can survive it. It's still a gamble, because you most times you are not in full HP because you have failed to memorize all of the different Messmer's patterns. So that's pretty funny. That's also why it helped a lot to have Hornsent there, because it was just, you know, it helps a lot even with the Mimic tier, but because there's another target for him to do this specific attack on, and the other one I was talking about, the AoE attack. Because they hurt like a bitch, and you can avoid them, but it's really hard. More so the AoE attack, because this is basically a one-shot attack, and you're meant to be able to avoid it. I've just spent this entire episode talking about Messmer's attack patterns. This is awesome. I'm not gonna stop. So in his second phase, he does this, you know, impaling spear attack, but he also controls a bunch of snakes, and then before you know, wait, what? No, he still has a spear attack, but you know, the AoE attack, that's what I'm thinking of. The AoE attack has like, I think, not even exaggerating, 8 or 10 snakes, like giant serpents, chasing after you really fast from each, you know, every singular one has their own direction they come from, and you just have to memorize which one of them attacks first and how to dodge, and you know, the very specific timing of each, because there's not a lot of time. They just plumber you until you are dead. I'm just getting I'm getting sad just thinking about this because God, it's a rough fight. But Messmer, he just kind of stands there a lot of the time and throws snakes at you. But that is still enough to kill me because the snakes are so fast. Oh yeah, by the end of this chain attack, he does the AoE attack, which is also very hard to dodge. More so now because I said before, he throws fire fucking everywhere. It's hard to see his patterns, like which patterns are what. That is amplified here because there are not only fire, but also a bunch of snakes just on your screen at all times, and the snakes all have their little summoning, summoning particles, I guess. Little summoning effect, which is just purple blob. I'm gonna take damage here, yeah. I didn't even heal. I didn't even heal all the way. I just sat there committing because I would heal all the way. I would have at least had 2 health left. I wasn't even close to beating Collector. This was pretty ass. But yeah, I finally got one of the entrances to, or one of the exits to the tower unsealed because I finally beat him with the help of Hornsent. So now I just have to go and explore. Maybe I go back to Bale. He's pretty cool. There was also some other dragons on the way. I don't know. I can talk about that later. But first impressions of Bale, very fucking cool. First impressions of Messmer, really fucking cool. Again, I don't know how long I have left of the DLC, but we'll see about that. Yeah, gonna go game some more. Over and out.